Have you heard about health savings accounts, or the more common term, HSAs? HSAs have become very popular the last few years, and they can be a valuable resource when used the right way. In this video, I'm going to cover what is a health savings account, including eligibility requirements and main features, two different uses for health savings accounts, and considerations for when deciding if a health savings account is right for you. So what is a health savings account? It's a tax-advantaged account for savings and possibly investing. The money in the account must be used for qualified medical expenses. That's the key here to remember. To be eligible for a health savings account, you must have a qualifying high deductible health plan. And this is a health plan that, as the name suggests, has a high deductible, which likely means more out-of-pocket costs for you. There are limits for high deductible health plans, and they are set by the IRS each year. And the IRS will set minimum deductible and maximum out-of-pocket limits to be eligible for an HSA. And these plans are usually designated as HD, HP in their name when you're picking out medical insurance plans each year. A high deductible health plan is usually going to have lower monthly premiums, which is what draws people to them. However, the participant usually has higher out-of-pocket costs when receiving medical services when compared to a non-high deductible health plan. And there are rules for eligibility to contribute to an HSA if you are not covered by a high deductible health plan for the full year. The details of that are outside of the scope of this video. A health savings account has some very useful features, and the first one is the one you're likely going to hear the most about, and that is a triple tax advantage. So that means that you don't pay income taxes on contributions to your HSA. And then if that money grows in your account, whether it's through interest received on savings or through investments, that growth is also income tax free. And then upon distribution, when you take the money out, it also has the potential to be income tax free. But remember, you must use the money for qualifying medical expenses to get this triple tax-free advantage. Another feature is that sometimes employers will contribute to your HSA account. These accounts are portable, which means you can take it with you after leaving employment. And they offer the option for receipt reimbursement for medical expenses. You also have the ability to invest in addition to having a savings account. Now, not all companies that provide HSAs are going to offer investments. However, many do, and it is a feature that can help you grow your savings. There are maximum contribution limits that you can contribute to an HSA each year, and these are set by the IRS. They also offer catch-up contributions for those age 55 and older, and this is an additional amount that you can contribute over the maximum contribution limit. Now, typically, no contributions can be made to an HSA after becoming eligible for Medicare, which is age 65. Now, there is a way around that, and that is if you meet the requirements for an exception that the IRS provides if you are still working. So check the IRS website for specifics on this exception. And then the final nice feature is that HSAs do not have required minimum distributions from the account. There are two main ways that you can use a health savings account. The first is you can save to pay for expenses in the near term. The second is that you can pay for your expenses out of pocket. You can invest your HSA money and reimburse yourself later or near retirement. So the first use is saving to pay for expenses. And this is where you would set aside money each paycheck in your HSA account. You may have a specific amount in mind that you're trying to save, or you may just set it aside just in case. When you incur a medical expense, you will use the money from your HSA to pay for it. Remember, this must be a qualified medical expense, so check the IRS website to confirm your expense meets their definition. Now, if you use an HSA as a savings account to pay for ongoing expenses in the near term, you're taking advantage of that special triple tax-free feature, which is great. However, you are not allowing the money to grow into a substantial amount for the future. And this brings us to our second way to use an HSA. And this is where you're going to be investing for the future. You're going to keep your medical receipts for future reimbursement, and you're going to pay for your current receipts with after-tax money that you have set aside in savings. So if you want to build up a balance in your HSA, you're going to have a little bit different strategy when you're managing your account. You're still regularly going to contribute to your HSA each year up to the maximum amount allowed by the IRS. If you do incur a qualified medical expense, you can pay for that expense out of pocket. And that means you're going to use some type of money, other savings that you have that is outside of your HSA. Now, when you pay out of pocket, you let your HSA money stay in the account, and ideally, you're going to be investing that for the long term. Now, if you can use this strategy, you have the potential to save and invest in your HSA for the long term, and then you can use that money for qualified medical expenses later on in life when you're at or near retirement. Now, as you may have guessed, the big consideration for this strategy is that you have enough money to cover medical expenses out of pocket. And remember, with a high deductible health plan, you are likely going to face greater costs than if you had a low deductible health plan. So remember, to get the triple tax-free advantage with an HSA, no matter which strategy you use, you must use the money for qualified medical expenses. If you do not, then you're going to be subject to pay income taxes on the distribution and potentially a 20% penalty if it's an early distribution. So who is a good fit for an HSA? Well, first, young and healthy savers. It can be either or both. Young savers would have a longer period of time to save and invest in their HSA. Healthy savers ideally would have less medical expenses to pay for, and this means their HSA money could build up over time. Another good case for using an HSA would be someone who has extra savings to pay for health expenses outside of the HSA. So if you have additional savings set aside, you can cover medical expenses without needing to use your HSA. You would likely want to have a small amount of medical expenses each year. Otherwise, it's going to be costly to keep paying out of pocket while you're trying to let your HSA grow. And then the final use case would be someone who expects to have limited healthcare expenses in the year that they have a high deductible health plan. If you have children, you may have more expenses each year than someone who is healthy and does not have children. This means you could be forced to tap into your HSA more often than you would like. Also, if you have ongoing health conditions requiring treatment or services, then you might not want to use a high deductible health plan and an HSA. Frequent visits to the doctor's office and receiving medical treatment can result in high out-of-pocket expenses, and these expenses could be a lot lower if you used a low deductible non-HSA plan. So in review, we now know that health savings accounts, or HSAs, are special accounts that provide tax advantages when they are used for qualified medical expenses. HSAs can be used if you have a qualifying high deductible health plan. They are also triple tax free. That's for contributions, growth, and distributions. HSAs are also portable and they may have employer contributions. And they provide you an opportunity to save and to invest. There are two ways to use an HSA. The first is as a savings account to pay for upcoming expenses. And then the second is as an investment account to grow over the long term. HSAs are a good fit for young and healthy savers, savers with large additional savings to cover expenses, and savers with little to no need for medical expenses. For more personal finance content, please check out our website and YouTube channel. As a reminder, this video is provided for general education purposes only. It is not intended to provide financial advice specific to your situation.